and then you start looking for jobs and taking on jobs you actually don't want. Often you're ending up working with customers that you just don't have a good gut feeling with, you don't particularly like dealing with. So today I want to talk about the idea of using more strategic growth to grow your construction business rather than going down kind of blind expansion route, which is something that I have definitely been very guilty of. So I want to talk a little bit from experience, but also just talking, I guess, from an external perspective of what I can see when speaking to a lot of construction owners that are maybe in this stage or suffering, I guess, from the consequences of being in this stage. Apologies if you're watching this video and you're seeing me kind of look away from the camera. I did actually for this video make a few notes because I wanted to make it a little bit more structured than our usual ramblings. But to be honest, there's probably not too much to look at other than my face. So feel free to just switch to the audio if that makes it less distracting. So let's get into it. So as I said, I really want to kind of go into this idea and delve in about not just trying to do more in the business and not just trying to build bigger. Often when you're starting a construction business, you're starting with smaller jobs and you kind of just want to build bigger and bigger and bigger jobs. You end up kind of being in a little bit of a hamster wheel, I think. When you first start your company, especially if you're on the tools and then kind of maybe running the majority of the work yourself, doing the majority of the work yourself, it's easy to run the business, everything's kind of going through you and you're pretty much handling everything from the operational point of view, which makes things pretty smooth. But generally the challenges really come where you start to realize that you're going to have to expand in terms of resources to actually take on more jobs. You're going to have to get some sort of help. Now, that is where I find that the kind of temptation and this mindset of let's just get bigger just very quickly comes in, and people very blindly follow that mindset for years, in my case even as well. So it's kind of this idea of let's just make more sales, let's try and get more jobs, let's just try and make more revenue, more profit in the business, and that is like the sole objective. The consequences, I think of that, some of them you expect, so you're going to be kind of working more hours, there's going to be more risk and things like that, but also I find that there's also this situation you get yourself into where you're chasing these things and how do I put it, you're chasing them but you actually end up in kind of less control of your business and actually more of a slave to your business than you were when you were kind of running everything yourself. And actually pattern that you can often see, especially with businesses that are maybe been established for or running for 10 years or so, is that they actually go in cycles of going from doing lots of big jobs to then not liking that setup and going down to smaller jobs and just managing everything themselves and going up and down and up and down. And again, in my own construction business, I was kind of guilty of that, having these highs and lows. And I really, really do think, going back, thinking in hindsight, it was because of this blind drive to just get more jobs. So I wrote down some kind of pitfalls actually, and I'm just going to go through them because I think these pitfalls, like to get specific, is some of the things that you just want to maybe consider if you are in this situation of trying to get bigger jobs or just trying to get bigger blindly. But also I think I wanted to highlight them because you may not realize you're in that situation, but if I say some of these pitfalls, they might kind of ring a bell to you and maybe an indication that you're doing things a little bit blindly. So one of the main consequences of kind of just going for blind growth and blindly going for more is that you just feel generally busier and busier and busier, and there's just this level of increased stress and workload that you have around your business, and in some senses a less of like anxiety. It's also really, really common to see that customer satisfaction will drop and quality will drop. Now, sometimes that does come when you do implement new systems and things like that. But if you can't pinpoint a reason why everything has just got shit, then that could be, a sign that, maybe you're just kind of growing blindly without really any objective. And as I said before, that kind of feeling of, although you're growing and now your business has got multiple people and helping you, you actually could feel like you're more of a slave to your business and less in control than when it was just you. I kind of sometimes like to think of it as a bit of like a hamster wheel, when you are on this kind of journey of trying to get more and more growth, because you sometimes, boost up your overheads to fulfill that growth, but you do it too quickly. And then you start looking for jobs and taking on jobs you actually don't want. Often you're ending up working with customers that you just don't have a good gut feeling with, you don't particularly like dealing with. And we've all been there where you've got like one or two, but if you're in a situation where pretty much most of your clients you don't like, and you already knew that from the point you were taking the sale, you're more inclined to do that when you're just kind of on this blind expansion mindset. Another thing that I think is really common is that because you're pushing for growth, profit, and then rushing things, you end up hiring subpar people in terms of your internal team, and also your trades and materials that you're using. You're using like cheaper guys, you're using guys maybe that you haven't properly reference checked and stuff like that, which also leads to this kind of quality issue. And finally, it's kind of this, I guess, this mindset of, like, when I win this next big job, or once we win this, or we just need this one big job and that'll kind of solve things, or eventually things will click and sort themselves out, or eventually I'm going to hire this A player and they'll be able to fix things, or eventually I'll make enough money that I can invest to fix all the problems that I'm causing or I'm coming across over this time. One of the things that Arthur, my business partner, always says is, he kind of, and I think it's really true in this subject, is that he kind of refers to the default for a lot of construction company owners to blindly look to just dig another hole to make more money, to solve any problem. So before actually taking this step back, it's just going ahead and let's dig another hole, let's build another job, let's just get another few $100 grand in the business, and let's just deal with it next month, kind of thing. So that kind of leads to what I would say is a fundamental solution to this. So I don't think there's like a quick fix with this, going in blindly, but it's sort of doing the opposite. So my recommendation is really, and it depends on where your business is, if it's still kind of like a lifestyle business, then I would start off with looking at what kind of lifestyle you actually want this business to give you. Because at the end of the day, you started this business to give you a lifestyle. Most people are not doing building, because they like building. It's usually to give them a certain level of freedom, or wealth, or assets, or whatever it is. If you're at the stage where you're a little bit more progressed, or a different stage of business, let's say, then maybe you want to do the same task, but look at it from, what do the shareholders of the business, including yourself, assuming you're a shareholder, want to get out of the business. Because again, most people that are listening to this are in the business for profit, and what do you actually want to get from it? And from that point, then I would suggest to look at the business goals and define the business goals that need to be achieved in order to hit those personal lifestyle goals, or the shareholder goals of the owners of the business. So that way you're kind of really making sure that everything's actually aligned, and you kind of feel creating a sense of purposefulness around what you're actually going to do. And once you've got those business goals, you made sure that they're really aligned with the personal or shareholder goals, then at that stage is where I'd say you want to then make a detailed action plan with what you're actually going to do on like a week-to-week basis or a month-to-month basis to actually achieve whatever it is. And I find, and I think that because I've done it myself, that just by taking a little bit of a step back, that actually means that you are much more sensible and focused with doing stuff that actually matters to the business. And it actually might be, once you do that task, it might be that you find out, yes, the objective now is to get more jobs or get jobs of a higher value. But by doing that task initially, I think you're a little bit more defined with specifically, okay, what type of jobs do we want? What's the actual project value? What kind of exact profit margin do we want to achieve, rather than just saying, oh, just get more, which really doesn't mean anything, kind of thing. And on top of the kind of focus, just by doing that, you're just going to feel like you've got more control because you'll be able to actually measure what you're doing. The quality will be better as well because usually when you set out a set of goals, you've got like a balance of goals. So you might have certain goals of having, in the business, like a level of satisfaction from the client, but also profit. And by laying those out, you kind of make sure that you're not going too lopsided in your business in one way and other things kind of falling out of bed. And I actually think, to be honest, like most importantly, just means that you're probably going to be happier, which at the end of the day, you spend a lot of time in the business, most of you. So, it's really not a nice place to be if it feels like shit and it also feels like you're out of control and stuff like that. And just taking a step back and actually making the plan, making the kind of forecast of things, I think will really, really help. So that's it. Hopefully that helps someone that's listened to this. Bye.